What's up, guys? Today we're going to be going over the new Strand aspect on Warlock, the Weavewalk, which is absolutely crazy in every single way. So in this video, we will be breaking down everything you need to know about this aspect, along with some cool tricks with it and a really good build. So jumping straight into it, looking at what it does, press your air dodge key to dodge while airborne to enter the weave, gaining damage resistance from combatants and players, reactivating your air dodge, or casting your rift to exit the weave. While in the weave, you generate Purge threadlings over time. So looking at how all of this works, first thing that it does not say at all anywhere is that this uses your melee charges. So as you see, I have all three of my melees, and if I go airborne, press my air dodge key, it will consume a chunk of my melee instantly, then over time drain it, and as long as you have melee energy, you'll be in the Weavewalk, getting that DR and the Purge threadlings. And once you run out of melee energy, it will automatically end. And if you don't have melee energy, you cannot start it. So you need at least one charge to be able to do this. But the good news is you can cancel it whenever you want and not drain all of your energy and save some for later by just pressing it again or using your rift to exit. And although in the description it calls this a dodge, it's nowhere near that of a Icarus dash or something like that. You really get no forward momentum at all when you do this. It does not like enhance your speed. It's a very minor dodge at best. And I've noticed while in the Weavewalk, it takes roughly one full melee charge to Purge 5 threadlings. And then when you have those Purge threadlings, whenever you shoot enemies, they will go out and seek them. And with the 30% buff in PvE this season, these things absolutely slap. And you can kind of use this Weavewalk whenever you want to refill the threadlings, shoot some targets, send them out over and over again. And then the whole DR part of this aspect. So heading into PvP to test that out, with Hone Edge times 4, it normally hits 2139. Now if I shoot a target with the aspect on, it goes down to 214, which is going to be a 90% DR, only doing 10% of the original damage. But one thing I've definitely noticed in PvE is, although the DR is obviously extremely high, when you use the Weavewalk, you are basically invisible and the enemies don't target you anyways. So unless someone's already trying to hit you as you go into the Weavewalk, or your allies are getting hit, more often than not, you're not even going to take damage anyways. But whatever damage you do take will be only 10% of the original damage, which is obviously quite a lot. And this is very handy in harder content. I use it all the time in sticky situations to stay alive as a get out of jail free card, or as a way just to reposition. And I feel like it's one of those tools that as you get better and better with it and kind of know when to use it, I mean, this thing has infinite potential. As you see, the well just ran out and I knew instantly to press the button, and I'm the only one that survived because I have this ability. And I could finish off the boss. Or there's a lot of times where I find myself grappling into a situation that I probably shouldn't have, and I can use this as a way to survive, reposition, and stay alive. So there's really infinite potential of this ability as you get better and better with it. And if we combo that with 10 resilience along with woven mail, which are 30% and 60%, I believe, once you add those all together, you have a total of 97.2% DR, which means you only receive 2.8% of the original damage. So yeah, I mean, you just don't take damage, right? And since this is all tied to your melee charges, there's really only one way in the actual subclass to get melee energy back, right here, Thread of Fury. And you could run that if you want, but I don't think it's quite worthwhile in my build because I only have 3 slots. But I started running things like Momentum Transfer, Invigoration, and then on my Bond, I also have a Distribution, all 3 of which will give me chunks of my melee back in the build. I'll show off here in a bit. And one really cool trick you can do with this aspect is combo it with the Rain of Fire exotic leg armor, where air dodges reload all of your weapons, and this does work with this strain aspect. So we can do with any weapon, let's say a rocket, is going to shoot off your rocket, then activate the Weavewalk, and then deactivate it as fast as possible, and it'll reload your weapons. So there's probably some interesting combos you can do with that. And I plan on making a video on the seasonal rocket, so maybe I'll use this combo in those videos. But there's been very similar combos in the past with strain on any character, or like marksman dodges on hunter. So nothing necessarily new, but just another tool and combo to do some of those things. And now moving on to my build, I've been using a very similar build basically since Lightfall, which is my grappling Verity's Brow build, but now I've altered it in a few ways to use this aspect. So looking at some of the things, obviously we have the grapple grenade, then we have the Weavewalk along with this one. So our grapple melee spawn 3 threadlings. Then I have Thread of Evolution to increase the damage of the threadlings. Then I have Generation to get the grapple back faster. Then we have Warding for the Woven Mail, which I still think is worth using, even though we have the Weavewalk. And then my weapon of choice is usually the Immortal with Demo. Any Strand primary would work. Ones with Demo are my favorite. And whenever I get into harder content, sometimes I put on the Machine Gun with Demo. For example, Lost Sectors and Nightfalls. Then I usually run a Reservoir Burst Fusion. The Season 1 works too, but I'm using this one right now because I don't have the new one. Then I use whatever exotic heavy of choice. Usually I run the Leviathan's Breath. And looking at our mods, a lot of the typical stuff. On our helmet, we have double Ashes Assets and a Strand Siphon. Then on our gloves, we have Grenade Kickstart, Firepower, and Momentum Transfer. Then on our chest armor, we have Charged Up and whatever reserves you're using. It should be Void, but I just didn't change it. Then on my leg armor, Stacks on Stacks, Invigoration, and Innovation to get a chunk of our melee and grenade back. Then on our bond, we have Distribution, Powerful Attraction, and Bomber to get a chunk of basically everything back when we use our Rift. And this season, the artifact has all kinds of mods that benefit this build. First off, we have Unstoppable Fusion and Overload Machine Gun for champions. We have this one to make it so our Strand weapons have a chance to generate a Tangle. Then there's going to be 2 things about picking up the Tangle. First, if one of our allies pick up or destroy the Tangle, we'll get our next one 5 seconds faster. And we'll get a buff to our Strand weapon damage for 10 seconds. Then we also have this one, where picking up a Tangle or Elemental Orb grants energy to your least powered ability. So no matter who picks up the Tangle, either myself or an ally, I get a buff of some sort. I would prefer it to be me to pick it up because, as you'll see, you get a huge chunk of your ability back. And finally, we also have this perk right here, where basically with this build at all times, we'll have a 10% buff to our weapon damage and our ability damage. And once I get my 12th unlock, this will be my last choice to have a chance of getting special and heavy ammo. So overall, the whole way that this build works is you use one of your Strand weapons to get the Verity's Brow perk, Death Throws, all the way up to ×5, which will do double damage with the grapple melee and help you get your grapple back even faster. And when you use your grapple, you will spawn in a Tangle. Picking up that Tangle will basically give you your full grapple back. And you just rinse and repeat over and over again. And as you're doing this, you have the Weavewalk whenever you're in a sticky situation to kind of reposition and stay alive, as you see in this gameplay. And really fills in like the last key thing that this build didn't have before. This build was always extremely good at pumping out damage, really good at ad clear, all that good stuff. But you could find yourself in harder content grappling into a situation that you probably shouldn't have, or you know, it was gonna be kind of risky. But now you can do that very easily. Just press the Weavewalk button, reposition to a safer location, and you're still good to go. All while doing that, having the DR and generating the Purge threadlings. That way when you get out of the Weavewalk, you can send those out and do even more damage. So overall, this build is, in my opinion, the best grapple build, the best threadling build, and has insane survivability. So it really is like everything you want out of Strand. The only thing that's really missing is Suspend, but you output so much damage with all these threadlings in this build that there's really nothing alive to even suspend. So yeah, definitely check out this build if you haven't yet. I've been using it basically since Lightfall, and it's just even better now. And overall, the Weavewalk is one of the best abilities in the game that I think as I get better and better and more used to it, I think it truly has infinite potential and completely changes the way I play the game. Anyways, the rest of the video will just be some gameplay with it. Like usual, thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time.